Hey everyone, and welcome to Filmmaking 2. For those of you who have had me, nice to see you again, virtually, I guess. And for those of you who haven't, my name is Matthew Foss, and I am happy to be teaching this course. Now, if you haven't met me yet, um, the first question I have is have you taken filmmaking one? Um, so for those of you, if you haven't taken filmmaking one, that is a prerequisite for this course, just so you know. Now, if it's something where it's like, well, I want to take filmmaking one, but I work that evening, you still need to get in that class, but you can come to class on the nights that we meet for this class and I can catch you up to date. Now, we won't be meeting every week because as you can see, this class is a internship. So it's a little bit different than most classes. We won't be meeting every single week. Um, the goal is to get you out and working professionally in an internship. Now, I did not design this course, I did not set it up as an internship. It's one that the school provides, and I am essentially proctoring it. So, even for me as a professor, this is a little bit different of a course. So, again, if you haven't taken filmmaking one, you need to take that first. So I'm saying that now, just in case you don't want to watch all of this. You need to just get over to registrar and try and get into filmmaking one. And if there's any issues, go ahead and email me. But before I even get further, so something came up over break with my heart. If you don't know me, I'm suffering from chronic Lyme disease. If you don't know, that's a tick-borne illness, so be careful of ticks. But I had some more heart issues over the break, and I'm going to be gone this first class for treatment out of town. So then the following week, I believe, is Martin Luther King, that we have a break, and I am kind of just prepping for that the first 2 weeks. We won't be in class, but you will have stuff to do. So that's why I'm sending this now and letting you all know now. So that being that, let's just look over a few things. Um, the syllabus is a bit boilerplate. I'm sure a lot of what you're used to, my contact information. The school has switched to a new syllabus program that we're supposed to use. So if anything gets confusing or doesn't make sense, just let me know. But there's my email. I'm adjunct, which means I am only teaching this course in Film 1 at TCC. I'm also teaching at OSU Tulsa and a university in Arkansas. Um, if you can, just go ahead and look things over. Um, Again, a lot of it is kind of self-explanatory. This class is a little bit more of a pass-fail in a lot of ways, which means if you do the work and you do an adequate amount of what I'm asking and you put forth the effort, then odds are you're going to get an A. It is up to my discretion, and at any point in the semester, I'm happy to discuss it with you. With film, like other arts, there are certain like caveats that you have to be aware of. So um, it sort of depends on what kind of production you're going to do, but and how prompt is your work getting turned in and things like that. So that can change if you're asking for extensions a lot, but you're doing the work. So you may go from an A to a B. And things like that. This is only the second semester I have taught this, so I'm kind of learning how I want to do it. But this is not exactly um, an accurate portrayal of what it's going to be. So don't look at the percentages at all because um, it it's a little bit in flux still. But essentially, you can do these are sort of the major assignments, and you can do one and or all of them in a sense, so long as you are kind of getting up to the expected amount of hours. So that's either making your own film, working on an internship, or a professional work that is filming in Tulsa. So like, if Tulsa King or another show like The Lowdown comes here, or another film, if you can get on there and work professionally, that is counting towards your hours. Um, you can also crew on somebody else's film, like within film one or film two, or maybe you know a friend at another university who's filming and they need crew help. So I'll get a little bit more into that. Um, but essentially, you'll either be doing a film, an internship, and or working on somebody else's film as a crew member. You'll also have a few uh, little assignments. So don't look at the percentages there. That's not really accurate. And I should have taken those off. I'm sorry. But um, the grade again is kind of looking at the overall quality, also looking at things like when we do meet, are you there? Are you there on time? Is your behavior professional? I want it to feel more like you're all like not a class but a work environment. Um, Again, when we do have class, it's important that you are there. I will always post things online, but you need to try and be there at the regular scheduled time. And I say that knowing I will be gone. However, this is a good example. If you have medical emergencies, please get a hold of me. I don't necessarily need to know all the details of everything. If you get some kind of documentation, then that's good. Unexcused absences, I'll start to keep track of. If you get more than three, you'll go down one letter grade, and after 5 unexcused absences, I have to go ahead and drop you from the class because it's like a third of the classes that you're missing. Um, Again, just kind of look these over. It's all pretty straightforward. I usually give a 24-hour window to turn in late work, not including major assignments like your film deadlines or tests or anything like that. But I'd rather you take that extra time if you need it. Maybe stuff came up to do a good job rather than rush something just to get it in, to get under the deadline. Like I get it, things come up. Just know you have that 24-hour window. If it's looking like you need an extension for a justifiable reason, get a hold of me ahead of time. And certainly life getting too complex or too chaotic can get to be a justifiable reason if you learn to fix your schedule and you know get yourself in a position where you won't feel so overwhelmed again. I get it, especially if this is maybe your first or second year of college. Maybe you had less classes last semester, and then this semester you're taking more, and it just starts to accumulate. And then just email me. Again, if you've had me for class, I'm fairly easygoing. My background is in film, and I was a film student, and I get how life is. So just hit me up if you need an extension, but it's better to not wait until after the deadline to ask for one. Make sure you're not using AI for anything that includes proofreading. Do your own work for now. I mean, at some point, universities will have a set in stone plan for professors to follow, and right now mine is just don't do it, and especially don't anything on your phone, things like that, because it will trigger that you used AI, and that's just not something you want to do. So even doing it to proofread your work is not really a good idea. Go through this section here about standards, font margins, things like that. Look it over. Email, if you're emailing me, please make sure to know that not only am I teaching at other universities, but I am combating some pretty intense illnesses right now. So it might be 24 hours. I generally check it in the morning and in the evening, but just know it might be 24 hours. The other is This class, people are doing different things. So if somebody's got an internship and they're meeting the hours, that's all that they need to work on. Somebody might be doing a production, and there might be more elements in there that have grades, like turning in a script or your pre-production work or things like that. Well, that can sometimes make the student who's doing an internship and not turning anything in, that might reflect oddly in Blackboard. So you might see I'm at a 10%. Don't freak out. That's not your grade. That's the limitations of Blackboard when students are doing multiple projects. And as much as I'd love to, I don't have the time to necessarily go in and tailor make, it just takes way too much time. So if you need to know where your grade is at, email me and I will tell you. Yeah, that became a bit of an issue last semester. Like if your parents are looking at your grades and it's like, okay, why am I at like a 10% or whatever, then, you just understand that that's the case. Like that's not necessarily reflecting where your grade is at the moment. That's just my limitations from the way Blackboard is. But I try to keep it like if I can't go in and override someone's grade or excuse them from something, I try to do it. But just don't always look at the grade that's on there. Somebody keeps calling me. Technical issues. If you're unable to upload or submit work electronically, take a screenshot. Like maybe Premiere crashed or whatever. Take a screenshot and just show me the error code. If you keep having tech issues, I'm going to make you go to IT and get some kind of note that figures out what's going on. I know you're uploading big files usually, so one safe get around is don't upload the project, create a YouTube link, and then turn that in, and that's usually much easier. Make sure you read your instructions carefully as you're working to. You can expect that there might be some films that I ask you to watch, and if you're renting them, if you don't have the platform that might be offering them, you can, I think it's like around $3 to $5 to rent a film. So, I mean, a safe bet might be $25. Make sure you have a camera that can shoot at 24 frames per second. You might have to look up on what your specific camera is. If you're using a smartphone, you need to download Blackmagic Cam, the app, and it allows you to have more control over your camera settings. You're going to probably need an external hard drive as well if you don't own one already. Oh, and also you need a Premiere Pro subscription. That has a monthly fee, or you can use DaVinci Resolve editing software, and that is free. And Blackmagic is part of DaVinci, so they kind of go well together. And I have links for that for you to get as well. And then the rest is just some boilerplate university stuff, but please look it over and know what is required of you for the semester. Okay. Here's your academic calendar. Here's a little bit about me if you want to know some information, and again, my email if you need to set up an appointment. If anything changes on the syllabus or something that I forgot, I'll add it to this addendum area, and I will also make you aware of it. And this is really just if there's any changes or updates to the class. Again, you will be doing a production, an internship, and or a crew assignment. Go ahead and look these over. You can kind of tell what I'm going for. It's fairly straightforward. If you want to do the internship route, now I am new to Tulsa. I'm trying to get more contacts out there for any sort of open internships or productions that are coming through town. You need to get a little bit boots on the ground and just see. So some things that you could look for would be anything film or video related. You can look for freelance work, any groups, any films coming to town, joining things online on Facebook like Oklahoma filmmakers or anything like that. I know some people even talked about working at a radio station, but two of the students last semester went through the Cherokee Nation to find some films and productions that were coming to town. But again, you don't have to go the internship route. I will be, of course, looking as well. But if you don't have anything in mind and you want to do a production, that's perfectly fine too. I also had students who were working on a production and then found an internship that had opened up kind of middle of the semester. So I took into account hours that the student already had put into work and kind of subtracted that then from what would be required in an internship. But really, I'm kind of looking at like if you can get 40 hours in for this semester. So you figure that's about 3 hours per week. So if you were able to do like, one 6-hour day a week, you'd have it done in less time. And once you've fulfilled your hour total, you're essentially done for the class. What you would do then is just have whoever you are interning for fill out some of this information, and then I have you write a 250 word minimum on just a reflection of what you've learned. So again, 40 hours needs to be film or video related. I would also accept something like television or filming informational videos, things like that. Maybe a company that does commercials or content like that, that's okay as well. We want to get you out into the community, want you to start making connections and start getting some more hands-on work. That's really the goal of the course. So if you decide to do a production, looking at the 5 to 7 minute range, you can team up. I know some of you that were in Film 1 that I've seen are in the course that worked on one project together as well. I am okay with that for this course as well. However, I'd want you all to still write your own scripts, like kind of do all the preliminary work unless you show me how you're going to do it in a way that delegates work to everybody. So it's just a conversation that we'll need to have once we are in person. But we have time. In fact, I believe last semester when I was doing this class, the first 2 classes were snow related. Is that right? Could be. Or was it? Might have been a different class. But in any case, we have time. And then again, if you maybe don't have all the time to do like a 5-minute production or 7-minute production, maybe you're like, I got time to shoot like a 1 minute or 2 minute. You can also make up that kind of those extra minutes, as it were, of your film time by crewing on somebody else's film. So that would mean less time needing to do stuff like editing, but you're also still participating and still learning. Again, maybe you work for one day, 8 hours on a production that came to town, and that was broken up over 4 days or something. I don't know. You can crew somebody else's production for the class or filmmaking one. So you have options. So right now, one thing is to begin thinking, do you want to work on a production? Do you want to see what's coming to town, or team up with somebody else? So you have kind of a few options. Just to give you an idea too, 5/1 is kind of like the last day of like regular classes. So that's when you'd have to have your final film or your internship form. Or I actually had one student who like busted his knee up like incredibly bad. And so we use this class to do a research paper. So it's a very malleable sort of class. There are some resources here. I was mentioning DaVinci editing software. There's a Resolve tutorial. Some more apps that you can use. This is that Blackmagic app for your cameras. And then just some more tutorials and things like that. And then some Oklahoma film festivals, because if you shoot a production, I will require you to submit to 2 festivals. And there are some free ones that are out there, especially for students. Here's some camera settings and things like that. Somewhere right here, it should be up one more. Here's some past lectures if you want to go back and look over anything that we had discussed before, or if as you're filming you wanted to say remember different camera settings, there are the lectures right there. Okay, so for this week 1 module, go ahead and look over these terms. These are things that we talked about last semester. Some of it, because we don't have audio gear, might be like, what is that? Now, they were a part of the lecture. We just didn't get hands-on with them. But these are just some basic terms that you could re-familiarize yourself with. You don't have to write anything out or anything like that. This isn't necessarily like homework, even though it kind of is set up that way. Just to look it over. And again, if you've not taken Film 1, but maybe you took a filmmaking course, say in high school or at a different university, and you feel like you have a good grasp of the basics, then go ahead and talk to me. Like if I feel like you know these terms, you know how to edit, then I can theoretically, I guess, keep you in Film 2. But I can't necessarily teach a class just for you. And so if you can't make the Wednesday night for Film 1, I get it. We just have to kind of arrange things. Okay. Right here is the formatting a screenplay lecture and the PDF of it. And that will play into your rough draft of your script. First things first is I need you to just acknowledge that you've looked at the syllabus and this is kind of a class agreement, that you agree on the policies, that you understand what's going on. This is pass-fail, so if you don't do it, I won't grade anything else that you happen to turn in, because there's stuff that you just have to be compliant with for a class like this. So that will be due the 16th, and then I'm going to move this up to here and this up so that the rough draft is the last thing we talk about. Okay, this next thing is for everybody. You're going to download this Word doc that really I want you to just start thinking, what is the point of making film, and start thinking about that. Like, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we have entertainment. We kind of escape from reality for a bit, but what else is the point of film? What else is the point of art? And to reflect on the power that you have as a filmmaker. So I want you to answer these. First, you'll watch this link right here about Plato's Allegory of the Cave, and it just kind of gets your mind sort of getting in the more philosophical realm. And then you'll answer these questions here. There's no amount of length of what I'm requiring you to write, just so much as you're thinking about it. Maybe some of these are a little bit too hard to answer. So as long as I see you write something like they're like pondering this, or whatever, I am unsure. If you're sincere in that, then that's fine. If you're just trying to breeze through an assignment, then you're missing the whole point of it. Um, so some questions like, what truths do you live by? What is your orthodoxy or creed? I don't mean that like what denomination or are you part of any religious institution. I mean you as an individual. Um, what is the power of art in your life? What is the most beautiful piece of art you have seen in painting, music, film, literature? I gave you some examples. If you could teach humanity one thing that is important to their humanity, what would it be? I gave an example. And then just some films that I feel like illustrate this, what I'm going for. Like, again, we watched a film. What is the point for the audience? Like, why did I give you my 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour and a half of my life? Like, you only have a certain amount of time in your life, right? So why am I going to give you this precious gift of time that I have to watch your film? What am I taking away? So what are learning to both be entertaining and, I don't want to say edifying, but proving a point. So film in a certain way is a artistic way of proving a point. So you will work on this, and that will be due on January 26th. Again, you don't have to write something you don't necessarily want me to read. And I'm hoping we will do this as a roundtable and just discuss what everybody came up with. So you don't have to share anything you don't necessarily want to share. It's again just to start getting you think philosophical as well as artistic. I need you to create a platform that is just your own YouTube platform. And you can also do Vimeo is a good one, but that one's a little bit more professional, and you have to start paying at a certain gigabyte. Like once you've uploaded a certain amount, there's a fee associated with it. So that being that, you may already have a YouTube account that you use. Think about it this way. Is it one that is professional looking, so that when you're done with this class and you go out into the world, and some businesses, we'd love to see your work, is your YouTube page going to kind of reflect a more like a business resume or kind of who you are? So that's great if you already have one and your banner is, SpongeBob SquarePants or anime or something like that, right? If somebody's like 50 and older, it's going to seem a little juvenile, right? So try and make something look professional. If you're really happy about what yours is and how many followers you have, okay, great. Can you make it at least gussy it up to look professional for me? So look this over. There's how to create a page if you don't know how, and how to create any kind of banner photos, anything like that. Canva can do it. This is due the 16th, and you just need to submit a link. Go ahead and start jotting down if you do have any ideas. If you think you want to do an internship, go ahead, start making calls, start formulating a plan. Like I've seen students not just at TCC but at OSU, when they've got on film sets, the next thing they know, they keep getting calls for more work and more work and more work and more work. So again, ideally you were out working on a set. So when I get back at, next week, I will be looking more in depth at upcoming productions as well. If you know you're going to be making a film, just put making a film to submit, so that way you're submitting something. And then finally, everybody, whether you're doing an internship or not, I need you to do a 5 to 7 first draft of your production. If you don't know how to format a script yet, then you need to go back to film one. But make sure it's correctly formatted, lacking grammar, spelling errors, must have scene numbers. And then I want you to print out, bring 8 copies to class on the due date, which will be January 26th. So before class, and that should actually be, let me change the time, we meet at 6, so I'm going to say 5:59. Cool. So that is what I need you to do. Don't worry. I mean, I would say for this, the instructions I would give right now is write something that you feel is within your wheelhouse to film. Now, you've presumably filmed before. Again, if you haven't taken film 1, you need to go take that first. But assuming you've taken film 1 or some course where you have filmed, you kind of get an idea of what's possible and what's not possible right now to film. So, filming something in downtown Manhattan with 400 people, probably not possible. So I want you to write something that both interests you and you feel is within your scope of reality to shoot this semester. So a 7-minute film is no small order. So I want to make sure it's something that you can do. Now, if you did need to go back, again, here are those lectures for formatting a script. And that is what I have right now. So again, please email me if there are any issues. And I will do my best to be looking at for any emails that are coming in this week from you. Bear with me as I'm kind of going through this procedure. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you. So email me if you need anything. All right. Take care, everyone.